Hi. So, I'm going to talk about The Dragon Prince episode 2. Sorry if the lighting is annoying. I'm trying things which doesn't make my entire face glow bright white. I'm trying not to sparkle and shine like a Twilight vampire every time I go on the camera, but I am extremely pale. I'm sorry if you can hear people in the background. It's yeah. You need to like that. There's a lot of people around. Anyway, I like this episode. Really like episode 1. It's just sort of like setting up a couple of bits and getting exposition and introducing the main characters. So like I didn't expect a lot of plot in episode 1, and then episode 2 we got like plot and characters coming together, and it's like you need to set these things up quickly. I mean, like we see straight away Rayla experiencing some consequences for her actions, like the Moon Elves don't trust her anymore, so she's isolated, which sucks, but at the same time that's what allows her to go off into her own, which makes her sort of find the princes and form that trio, which is they're gonna be together for the whole season. Methinks that's that's gonna be the dream team. But yeah, so straight away, like she did this, which makes this, so she does this, which leads to another event. You know, about that finding the egg and stuff, and it's yeah, that's decent writing. You should try and the best stories have the characters sort of inseparable from the plot, don't they? So the character does something which sets off the plot, but the plot does something which makes the character react, and they just keep going in a cycle until like the lines between character and sort of like plot just blur into these sequence of events, and that's the story sort of thing. And like you can tell when it's not done right, because character development is like all over the place, and you're told that someone's grown but they haven't and stuff like that. But this seems like something happened, a character reacted like this, and then something happened because of what that character did, and so on. It's pretty solid. You know, I can't like speak a lot for it in its entirety, narrative structure, because obviously this is only episode 2 out of 9, I believe. There's going to be a season 2 apparently at some point, which I will probably watch. I'm liking this so far. Yeah, Rayla's my favourite so far, because she seems to have the most the consequences of her actions and like the stakes within the story are like sort of presented through her the most at the moment, in my point of view, other than like the king hints at it a lot, and I'm really curious about the king. I like him as a character. He's very much a king and he's very much a dad. So they've written him quite well, because usually like people can mess up like characters that are more than one thing quite easily. But yeah, it's like, what's the deal? What's your tragic backstory? And are you going to be the character with 2 R's that's going to die? Because I know someone with 2 R's or something in their name is going to die. I think there's only 2 characters with 2 R's in their names. It's probably him. It's they're laying on the sort of angst, unless it's going to be like a red herring. But it's you know what fantasy stories are like with parents. It's I'd be surprised if he made it to the end of the series without like at least a grievous wound, to say the least. Sorry, I always do my talks really out of order, but I've literally just watched the episode, stopped, and started talking, so I have no notes. This is just me rambling, alone in my room. Side note about the king. I really like how they've got a step parent and the kid, because like they seem to be showing it like an actual relationship. You know, in fantasy stories it's generally like, oh, there was a princess and then the beautiful virtuous mum died, and then there was a stepmother and she was evil and ugly and cruel and stuff like that. It's just like that's like the only step-parent relationship archetype I remember seeing a lot in fantasy stories. And it's sad because like people should be able to see step families and different types of families as normal families. So like just having that in fantasy story, I don't remember the last time I've just seen that. So it's like, that's pretty cool. I'm into it. It seems to be creating a sort of sense of tension between the two of them as well, which is cool because it seems to make it more realistic. Like, if they were just acted like father and son, I would have been okay with it. But it's just a difficult, like, what do you do if you're not royal, but your mother married into the royal family and your king, who you've always thought of as a king, becomes your dad? It's a lot to process. Especially as for like a teenager, like you've got a lot of stuff going on in your teen years anyway, and then like suddenly you're a prince and your country's at war and stuff, like that's a lot. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm really like, they're sort of really hinting about the sort of I mean they mentioned the war anyway in episode 1 and stuff, but they're really like laying it on thick about dark magic, which is to be expected. But I'm curious about it. Like, obviously we know that there's more than they're saying, because the Dragon Prince was killed and there's a dragon egg. So someone's fake. You know, it's a conspiracy. There's something going on. And it's interesting to sort of think about what happened and why. Because if this all, like, before in the intro they said about sources of magic, and then like this evil sorcerer came up with dark magic, and then someone killed the Dragon Prince, and then there was war, then it's like, so someone found a different kind of magic which we don't necessarily know is evil, it's just dark, and someone assassinated this child who's still alive. So obviously, what's going on? Because someone just started this race war, basically, which is a lot. Although it's race in a different context, which I should appreciate a lot, because obviously, like, fantasy has a very iffy relationship with race. So in this, it's just like the humans and the elves of varying ethnicities, which is good. Doesn't seem to be much coding, or at least so far. But yeah, specifically the humans against elves, mainly Scottish elves, It's a weird coincidence that I think all of the elves so far sounded Scottish. I haven't been listening, I'm not that great with accents anyway, but Rayla is very sort of like almost Meredith from Brave, like proper Scots. Yeah, I go on to tangents a lot, I apologise. But yeah, I'm very, they're doing a good job of sort of making me like interested in what's happening. Because straight away they were like, this thing happened in a generic fantasy sort of way. And I accepted that because fantasy it often gets away with just stating exposition at the beginning and then you're moving along. And that exposition staying true throughout the story, mainly. And it's like, I'm not saying this to like insult the genre, like pretty much everyone does it, like I think Lord of the Rings starts something like that. Star Wars is, I know it's sci-fi, but like if it has a sword fight and monsters and a version of magic, like that's fantasy. Star Wars starts like that. It's just sort of a thing, and like you just sort of accept it, I guess, for this sort of thing. But then like they're using that sort of expectation and then like sort of subverting it a bit, because it's like actually it's not that simple, which is good because war is not simple. I'm glad it doesn't feel like they're promising too much, it just feels like they're naturally progressing. It doesn't feel like they're bigging a lot up, apart from dark magic, which is the big question, because like dark magic is generically evil, but is this actually like dark as in evil, or is this dark just as in that's a source of magic? Because you have sources of magic in the thing where like most of them are light based, like star and sun and moon or whatever, but like some of them aren't. Like the earth I wouldn't associate with light unless you mean like lava, but that's like a really oddly specific glowing substance, or like radioactive minerals, or maybe some animals like fireflies. But when you think of the earth, I generally just going to think of like forests and rocks and things which don't create light, in fact sort of, like block it out and things like that. So maybe it's just a thing, or maybe it really is just dark magic, like dark as in evil. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, I like that. Got some good character interactions. Rayla's my favourite so far, but I like the boys, and I like Claudia, that's her name. She's fun, she's very cute and sweet. She doesn't seem to be doing much so far, but well, she helped push along the snake idea. I guess that's what her idea was, because I didn't hear what she said when she was talking to Callum. I just saw her go and like zoom, and I was like, okay. Something about tricking someone or someone thinking someone's something else I didn't hear. So I'm guessing that she helped come up with the snake plan. Also, nice animal design. I like the design of the oddly convenient two-headed snake. But yeah, I feel like she's going to become a bit more relevant as time goes on. You can't have everyone hogging the limelight at once. That's fine. But yeah, she's very endearing, so we've bonded. But yeah, it's all go now. It's all happening. They're gonna have to figure out what to do with this heir to the dragon throne. Because like, if this is a conspiracy that's been happening for years and years and loads of people have died, I don't think you can just like be like, oh yeah, Dragon Queen, here's your kid. Well, I mean, you'd have to try and go up to her and deliver it. I don't think... I think that's probably going to be the thing, isn't it? Their goal to deliver the egg to her instead of just announcing to her and to the elves and the humans that the egg is still here, because lots of people died for this. There's got this whole conspiracy thing going on. It's complicated. Cam's going to have to learn it's complicated. Rayla's going to have to learn it's... I mean, they're opposite lessons, but they're the same lesson. Like, it's more complicated than just everyone doesn't want to die, so they need to stop killing each other. Like, yeah, and it's like, you did something wrong, so we need retribution. Yeah, but obviously, just sort of expecting things to be that simple and that easy. It makes sense. I mean, like, they're teenagers and that. There's people that think about like that in real life as well, but obviously, as we know, they're going to have to develop. These things take a lot of effort and a lot of time, and hopefully less murder. But yeah, it's good. They set up the character development. They're literally just like, before there's like showcasing, like, this is a protagonist, this is another protagonist. This is just like, meet these guys, try and get attached to them. This is how they're going to affect the plot. And now it's just like, step 1 of character development, setting up flaws and false ideologies and stuff like that, which is good. I'm looking forward to watching them grow, to be honest. I like them. I think that's one of the most important things in a story, is to try and make your characters likeable, which is a very difficult sort of thing to make, because it's quite instinctual and it can be quite difficult, because there are some characters that people are going to love that other people are going to really hate. But I think they've gone for a pretty decent approach with this, like the archetypes and the personalities. Like, I like them. Like, I'm not emotional over them, because we've only just met, but I do want them to succeed, and I want to see what they can do. So, also, side note, in that room with the dragon egg, they had all these little, had like a pickled shark or something. Like, now it's preserved, and all these little bits and bobs, like some kind of classroom in Hogwarts, like a creepy one. And I think they were horns, but they didn't look like the... Specifically, they looked like a kind of antelope horns, because they didn't just go out like a cow or like a thick thing like a rhino. They're like twisty ones, but they're a lot shorter. They look like elf horns to me. Unless there's some other fantasy animal that we haven't quite met yet, which is possible, because they seem to have fantasy animals coming out of everywhere. Oddly convenient ones as well, like that shady guy who said he took credit for killing the Dragon Prince, which is a certain type of guy. You've got to be in a weird place to be like, oh yes, I killed that person's kid, and just own that, when you didn't. That's an odd choice to make. You know, that's going to affect your reputation. I can see why the king didn't trust him 100% in his dark magic, but yeah, he seems to have a lot of... Is it illegal for him to keep so many dodgy pets? Like, some of these things seem dangerous. He has 2-headed venomous snakes. Feed for people's spirits? Like, an actual soul-eating reptile that he just has? Just carries it around in a little basket. I love fantasy creatures. I think they're not the most important part of the fantasy story at all, but I just like them, and dragons and stuff like that a lot. But I just find that quite funny. They just, yeah, sure, why not? You just has these oddly convenient animals. Yeah, I hope some of them get a bit more foreshadowed later on, so it doesn't just be like, oh, you tripped up and broke your ankle. Well, I have the badger, whose, I don't know, spit heals the ankle of those who have just injured it or something. Like, you know, it's not like a huge issue. It doesn't really bother me. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it'd be cool if they foreshadowed some things instead, like Bait using his glow ability against Rayla. Like, that makes sense to me, you know? If she's a moon elf and she can see in the dark and her eyes are sensitive to light, and then there's this animal which can naturally glow, does it very quickly and suddenly right in front of her when she's looking directly at it, like, that makes sense to me. Like, they showed us I keep saying Blade. Who's Blade? It's Bait. Keep showing us that Bait could do, like, glowy, colour changing sort of thingbobs before, and then Rayla running in the dark, being able to see pretty much perfectly with no issues. So, like, yeah, that makes sense to me. That's fine. But which is good. It's just it'd be nice to see stuff like that foreshadowed with the animals. But anyway, I got sidetracked again. I didn't think I'd have this much to talk about. I'm sorry. But yeah, those horns, those like shorter, twistier horns, because like an antelope's horn would be something like that long, wouldn't it? It'd be, I don't know how to get that on camera. It'd be like fairly long, like that maybe. You can't see my hand, but I don't know, that's a bit more than my shoulder width. Yeah, and then these were sort of like that long, which could conceivably go on ahead, you know, like here-ish. If it wasn't just directly on top, it'd be embedded in a bit. Like, yeah, that seems like it could be an elf horn. If that is an elf horn instead of a fantasy animal horn, like the mini preserved hammerhead sharks and that, then that's I can see why she got so angry. I mean, like, I don't know if these elves are going to be like, you get the stereotypical, these nature beings don't hurt animals in any way at all, they're completely vegan, they can't even, like, breathe too close to a fly for fear of harming it, sort of thing, you know. Some people take it a bit far, is all I'm saying, but I don't know if she would be outraged that this guy had, like, preserved animals, like some weird taxidermist or something, or if, like, if these are elf horns and she's just like, someone's killed some of my people and just desecrated their bodies by cutting body parts off and keeping them as trophies, that would upset me a bit. That would, yeah, that's upsetting. So if that's her reaction, then yeah, I could get why she'd be so upset and then be like, nah, screw you guys, I'm a stab. Well, so she gets interrupted by the egg, which is such a pretty design. Or, such a pretty design, in case you couldn't hear my over-enthusiastic whisper. But I do like the designs in this show. That egg was stunning. I'm getting emotional about this. I just really love dragons, guys. I love dragons. You got to see the Dragon King earlier. I can't remember his name. The Thunder Dragon, and it's like this magnificent creature is sort of covered in like either these little spikes or like proper fur, and they're like that's a friend. That's a good boy. I don't care if they've electrocuted tons of people. That is a friend. I'm getting emotional. I love that design so much. I can't wait. I better see the Dragon Queen at some point during this series because she's going to be stunning. But yeah, you see the egg. They're nice set designs. There are some moments where some things are a little bit too cartoony, a little bit too stylized. And it sort of clashes with the 3D things. Like some backgrounds, you see like some bricks in the wall, but they use like duller grey colours like stone, because stone is like that most of the time, and it sort of just goes together and you don't think about it. You know, stick a couple of suits of armour at the front, it's fine. But like there was a moment, I think near the Dragon Egg, where there's just some books, but they're just like these blocks with thick lines and colour or something, and it's just like, it's not 100% consistent. You get that a little bit, and there was a tiny issue with the frame rate thing, which they tried to rectify. I think they did a decent job with Rayla's movement seemed mostly fluid, with the flips and the Naruto running. I love how edgy she is, she's so good. But yeah, it's like a little, the sort of artist in me is like a little bit peeved, but I think it's like a pet peeve, you know. It doesn't ruin the enjoyment of the show, in my opinion. It's just like a tiny little thing, you know. I don't believe in perfection, like everything's gonna have a little thing wrong with it, and like, I would rather something be like that background detail was a little bit off than this show has horrible writing or something, you know. So, that's okay. I'm liking the show so far, and I hope I have enough time at some point to just binge. I want a free day. I know it can't be tomorrow. I don't know when it can be. I'm gonna get these videos out. But yeah, if you guys know anywhere where I could put up my reactions, because I would still like to share them, even if YouTube's copyright rules would not, then I'll be grateful, you know, if you let me know. If it's something free, because I'm not exactly like, I'm not broke, but I'm not like, I can't just spend loads of money on things like new accounts, video editing software, new earphones where both of them work and stuff. But the last one's a joke. I can probably get some cheap earphones that will at least have 2 working earbuds. But yeah, that'd be cool, because like I do film the reactions that I do, and it's big sad because I'd like you to see them. I don't know if all of them are very good. Sometimes sometimes I just have more to say at some things than others, but there we go. Work in progress, we're all doing our best. But yeah, how did you feel about the episode? I mean, like, feel free to comment, just like no spoilers. Like the episode that I upload, my talk 4, I'm probably only on that episode, or maybe, if I'm a little bit organised, an episode ahead of that. There's no way that I'm just going to be finishing episode 5 and having finished all the episodes, for example. So if you can like give me like non-spoilery thoughts about the series, what you like, I mean what you don't like as well, that's fine. Yeah, I really want to watch this, and at least half of it is because I've seen so many memes and I just don't get the joke. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and didn't mind me going off on all these tangents, and I hope you're having a good day.